Hi everybody, it's Tracy Lernand.
Mavanwi Smith, how you doing?
Fabulous, Merv. It's been a fantastic week for Bitcoin, of course. I think we say this every single week. And so to our listeners, welcome to Women in Bitcoin.
Yes, a very, very big welcome. We've got an exciting program for us today.
Yeah, we do. And today we're talking investing. We do have a very, very special guest. His name is Peter Marais. He's an entrepreneur. He's an investor. He's a total Bitcoin believer. Welcome, Peter.
Yeah.
Good morning, Tracy, and good morning, Mavanya. How are you guys?
Very good, thanks.
Yes, excellent. And except the only thing is we are a little bit jealous because you are sitting in Zug, which is the heart of Crypto Valley. Tell us
That's
about
right. I wanted to first correct your first statement that said it was a good week for Bitcoin. It's been a good year for Bitcoin.
Yes.
Well, at least it's starting to slowly be summertime here, and but things are hotting up in everywhere in Crypto Valley, in London, which is the fintech capital of the world. Things are hotting up, and there are new things in the whole crypto world. And it's a very exciting world for people that might be interested in it.
Absolutely. So we've got a couple of questions for you today, and I think Merv's going to kick off with the first one.
Peter, we're talking about investment today, and particularly in Bitcoin. Why should we invest with Bitcoin?
Well, firstly, I think the question should be why should we invest in Bitcoin? Because when we say invest with Bitcoin, I get a lot of people ask this question. Is maybe first get an understanding of what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is not a company or someone you can invest with. What Bitcoin is really a computer program that creates a double-ledger entry on a program called the blockchain, and this creates a value and creates what we call the Bitcoin currency. And the Bitcoin currency is an independent, open source digital currency that can be used to purchase goods and services on the internet. The reason why people should be involved and should buy Bitcoin, in my view, is because this is the only currency or commodity that has a deflationary cycle because of limited supply. The way Bitcoin was created, it was created with a finite number of Bitcoins that are going to be created over time. And so the continuous supply of Bitcoins are forever diminishing. Whereas with normal currencies, you know that supply is always increasing because governments can print more and more and more. Bitcoin, there's no way to increase the amount of Bitcoins that will ever be produced. That is the first thing. And secondly, this is all the advantages that you have when using a currency like Bitcoin, because it's a seamless integration internationally. It's running on an open source software on the internet that's available everywhere, so you don't have to have any exchange mechanisms or anything. As long as your counterparty accepts Bitcoin, you can move it to any country or anywhere, and it's so the underlying value is there. You've got diminishing supply, you've got increasing demand as Bitcoin goes forward. So I would suggest that everyone should at the very least, educate themselves about Bitcoin. And when you start educating yourself about Bitcoin, you will start seeing the value. So hats off for you guys for doing this program and helping women to be empowered with Bitcoin.
Yeah, thanks, Peter, because I must say that was a great start to this discussion. And the most exciting thing, I think, for me is that we're really just starting out with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has kind of just begun, and it's gaining amazing, amazing traction. So what kind of investments are out there? What should we look out for? Peter?
Question is asked very often. how can we get involved in Bitcoin? How can we invest in Bitcoin? Um, there are many ways people are making money with Bitcoin. There are some people making money by trading Bitcoin. There are some people making money trying to mine Bitcoins, and then ultimately, people that are not involved in the business side of it want to get involved with investment in Bitcoin. Are you guys still there?
Yes, we're here.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, it got very quiet. So as an investor, you would look at areas of investment. It would be you could invest in just buying the currency and holding it, which is ultimately the easiest way, and also the investment over which you have most control. Or you could try to invest in investment programs that are offered. There's a lot of Bitcoin investments that are being offered. Or you can invest in a Bitcoin business. Those are your options.
Great. You did sort of mention mining, one of the ways to earn money. So my question is mining a real investment, because they are like a normal company where they spend a lot of money on the infrastructure, the hardware, electricity, etc. Would you consider that investing?
Yes, if you actually invest in a mining company, or if you invest in mining equipment to mine Bitcoins, I'm sure your listeners know what Bitcoin mining is, because you probably
Yes.
explained it to them. So I'm not going to go into an explanation, but there's a difference between actually investing in mining and certain schemes that are being sold on the internet, which are called cloud mining, where there are companies that are selling so-called cloud mining contracts, which is not really an investment, but really most of these are really schemes, Ponzi schemes, or just investment schemes that offer very, very high returns that I would not tell people to get involved with. But mining in itself um, is an investment. It's under pressure though, because of the low Bitcoin price in relation to the Bitcoins that are being created. That's one of the reasons why people expect that Bitcoin prices are going to start rising in the near future, because a lot of Bitcoin mines are at the moment under pressure and not making money. Which for me, a Bitcoin mine is something that you would invest in if you have a technology company, you have the expertise to run a farm of computers, and you have massive amounts of capital. To invest in a cloud mining contract or something like that, I would steer clear away from that, because that is not a real investment. And also, even in places where some of those companies are, not unscrupulous, they are still going to have a profitability problem. So I won't suggest that as a good investment, no.
Okay, so Peter, you're saying that we should stay away from cloud mining. Is there any other investments we should actually avoid?
There are many investments you should avoid. I always say the best investment you can make in any endeavor is in yourself. So let's talk about that. If you want to really invest in Bitcoin, the first thing that I would invest in is training, getting to know what happens in the market, and getting to know the industry. Because investing in yourself and investing in your knowledge can save you a tremendous amount of money. Most people just are a bit lazy when it comes to investment and their money, and they just want to give their money to somebody else to manage it for them. But that is a bad idea in any kind of investment, not just in Bitcoin. So the first rule is make sure that you know yourself what is going on. You are the best person to look after your own money, nobody else. And secondly, if you are looking for investments to avoid, you need to look for red flags. And red flags are usually unrealistic returns is the biggest red flag in and secondly is to earn a very, very high commission. Now, I've just told you that, these cloud mining contracts are not, the cloud mining or Bitcoin mining is not very lucrative at the moment. But still, I see some cloud mining contracts where people are promised 10% a month in returns. And on top of that, the people that are selling it are receiving a huge income from in terms of commissions. So in my view, those are phantom profits, and anything that offers returns that are not realistic is something that you should avoid. The old adage, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is what you should keep in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, we've chatted quite often about the cloud mining and whatever, because it really, we've all been hooked with that. We've been hooked with the high interest, and we thought, this is definitely going to work. But inevitably, we lose our money.
Marwania, the other thing that I would avoid as investor is all these what they call altcoins. Because ultimately, Bitcoin, the market value of Bitcoin is more than all the other coins that was created, put together. And unless you really know what you're doing, I would stay clear of any alternative coins. And also, there are some schemes that are presented as coins, but they're not coins at all. So, it's always, the buyer, let the buyer beware. In the world of cryptocurrency, there's a lot of people that are taking advantage of the fact that this is a new technology and trying to,
Yeah, Peter, you know what, we see it all the time with new
schemes from people.
New
so
coming
investors should avoid.
Sorry, we just spoke to each other because I thought you had finished. The line seems a little bit wobbly, but yeah, Peter, you know what? We see these adverts all the time. Hooking people into these very, very high interest or returns companies. So definitely to stay away from that. And also your tip on all the altcoins. At the end of the day, choose Bitcoin and run with that. So one thing that we need to know is what happens. You mentioned the 21 million coins that are going to be created. So what actually happens when all of those are created? How are we still going to earn from Bitcoin as an investment?
Bitcoin, ultimately, the value of Bitcoin comes because of our increasing demand and diminishing supply. It's a rule of economics. So as long as people use Bitcoin and more people want to use it, the value of Bitcoin will go up. It's an economic law. So in actual fact, when all the Bitcoins are mined and there's only 21 million in circulation, that will actually increase the rate at which the value of Bitcoin will increase.
Peter, do you think that we're going to need brokers? At the moment, if we want to do a normal banking type investment, we need brokers. Do we need such a thing with Bitcoins?
Yes, I think yes. I think the IT community believe that Bitcoin eliminates the need for all kinds of financial intermediaries and for all kinds of advice and stuff like that. In actual fact, good advice and the good financial management will always have a place. Listed funds that you can actually buy with normal currency and put in your pension, what they call your IRA or whatever, and you can actually go to your financial broker, ask him to put a percentage of your IRA into this Bitcoin fund, and you will own Bitcoin in your pension through the normal financial structure. So I see more and more Bitcoin products coming out that will be linked to the actual current financial services system and will be sold by brokers and stuff like that, and you will still have they will still have a place in terms of advice and stuff like that. The one thing that will happen though is that the fees that banks charge or brokers charge on normal transactions will diminish a lot. And if you really want to in Bitcoin, you can completely sidestep any brokers or financial.
That's excellent, Peter. That's really good news. It would be great to see.
You don't even need a bank account.
Yeah, it would be great to actually. Peter, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Sorry, you just faded away there for a second. Can you just repeat your last statement or question?
I said that that sounds like that's like a fantastic idea. I mean, I really would value having Bitcoin as part of my pension, because I do have some money in invested, and unfortunately it's all fiat currency, and the economy is just such a mess that I don't think I'm going to get much return on that money, which is quite a concern, and I think quite a concern to people who are who do want to look after themselves in their old age. So that would be great.
I think, Tracy, just there's many people with that concern where their money are tied up in, say, maybe a pension fund or whatever, and they say to me, I want to invest in cryptocurrencies, I want to invest in Bitcoin, but I can't do it now. And I'm just saying is, if you're just a little bit patient, all the banks, all the big financial firms are looking at Bitcoin integration, and I can see a time very, very shortly where you would be able to, with your investment, wherever it is in a pension fund or whatever, be able to ask those guys to allocate some of it to a Bitcoin fund or a similar type of fund, which means you will be able to get that exposure, because the financial markets and the financial industry are seeing the value of Bitcoin. I mean, the days where people were thinking that Bitcoin is just, some kind of a fad or a scam or something that you buy drugs on the dark web with is long gone. All the private banks in Switzerland, all the hedge funds, everybody are looking at this. The banks are employing blockchain and Bitcoin teams, and they are going to come up with all kinds of investment products that you would be able to use. You wouldn't even need a Bitcoin wallet to invest in some of these products. So I can see all of those things coming, which will obviously put a fire under the Bitcoin price. So coming back to your question is, what is the best investment? The best investment is to actually just own the precious, to own your Bitcoins. I call it the precious.
Yes,
because just make sure that you own some Bitcoin. You don't have to do anything else. Just own it for a long time. And it will increase in value because of economic law. And I always sound like a broken record about this, but it's very, very easy. You've got an inelastic supply. Actual fact, you've got a diminishing supply. You've got an increasing demand. Economic law says price has to go up.
Absolutely. And, about a week or so ago, there was an article talking about Bitcoin becoming an asset class. What's your view on that?
Well, this is exactly what I'm talking about. If you look at the history of Bitcoin, first you had adoption by the actual tech community, all the IT guys. So this is a great idea. We can send value, and they started developing and stuff like that. Then you had all the let's change the world. Ideological guys who thought the banks are gonna come crashing down and the world's gonna end, and now Bitcoin is the answer, and we promoting anarchy and screw the government and all those type of stuff. We working outside the system. Then those were the next lot who adopted it. But both of those two groups are very, very small, and obviously there was some criminal adoption as well, because of the fact that it's a very easy technology to use. But all of those are very, very small, and it's really diminishing into nothing now with the real value of Bitcoin, because after that we started getting consumer adoption where people realized, look, there's real benefits of using this. Then we started getting adoption by companies and businesses where they started using it, merchants using it, stuff like that. And then finally, we're getting regulatory adoption, where governments are saying, look, This is a new thing. Consumers are using it. We better start looking at ways to regulate this and making sure that this becomes a proper handled industry. And this is already in, I would say, phase 2 or phase 3 of what's happening. I just saw again in North Carolina, there are new Bitcoin companies that are getting licenses. 2 in New York over the last few months got licensed as Bitcoin exchanges. So and it looks like the CFTC, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission in the US, are have decided they are the guys that are going to regulate Bitcoin and give licenses to regulated exchanges. Now, if a company like the Chicago Mercantile Exchange decides to list a Bitcoin future or Bitcoin options, you'll see this price skyrocket like you've never seen before. But the last adoption that I see, and it's happening now, this is what we're talking about, is investor adoption, where Bitcoin really becomes an asset class. And this is what is currently happening. Your guys are discussing it. The hedge funds are discussing it. And all that needs to happen now is that pension funds and those type of funds get the go-ahead to put amount of Bitcoin into people's pensions. Then you'll also see that would be basically the completion of investor adoption. Already, your sophisticated investors, your hedge funds, your family offices, those guys, they already know what Bitcoin is. The smart money in Switzerland, where 95% of all hedge funds are managed from, are already moving into Bitcoin. They already own Bitcoin. So people, that are still seeking advice from somebody's son about Bitcoin, like lose, because the real money and people that are really knowing what's going on really realizes that this is starting to be an asset class, and it's going to be the asset class of the next 50 years.
Fantastic, because that was going to be one of our questions, was investor adoption. But we see that, especially in the response that you've given us, that there's huge response coming, or a whole lot of adoption and interest from various what we would consider the authorities in the financial side. But Peter, how do we decide when to invest?
Well, that's an interesting question, because it all depends on your time frame. Most people, when they invest, they want to invest today and make a return tomorrow. And unfortunately, that is not investing, that is speculating. If you're looking at the life cycle of Bitcoin, you're looking at something that's going to exist for the next for hundreds of years, possibly. You can invest any time in your lifetime and make a profit. The question should be, why are you not invested yet? So no, you shouldn't wait for the best price or whatever, because what you should do is just get involved and get invested and take a 20-year view, because you're investing something that are going to adhere to the law of supply and demand. Supply is going down, demand's going up, prices have to go up over the long term. I think a lot of people are concerned, if I buy now, can the Bitcoin price is just between 650 and 700. Can the Bitcoin price halve again? Can it go back to 300? I wish it goes back to $100, because then I can buy more. If you're a serious investor into this new technology and you believe it, you don't want the price to go up now. You want the price to go down. So
absolutely.
But unfortunately, I don't think that will happen. But yes, it's going to be a volatile investment. So if you're going to watch your statement, your investment statement every day, or you're going to watch your prices every day, you are going to get discouraged, because these prices, this is a new technology that people are only starting to invest now. So you're going to see all kinds of volatility, bubbles and crashes in the Bitcoin price. But over time, that price will tick up and up and up, because ultimately your economic law will kick in of supply and demand. And The price has to go up over time.
Absolutely. You know, Peter, just the other thing that's happening now is because there's a lot of interest in Bitcoin, and particularly when the price starts going up, it also brings out the hackers. So, how, in terms of investing in Bitcoin, how you know, what about the security once we've invested, the security of Bitcoin?
Well, let me just immediately address this so-called hacking problem. I think hacking is really not the problem. I think the excuse that companies use for being unscrupulous is that they've been hacked. Because it's easy to say and nobody can prove that you weren't hacked. So firstly, if you want to have security over your Bitcoins, make sure where you're keeping your wallet. Like I said, you know, the best way to do it is to keep it with you. In other words, to create a proper offline wallet where you keep your Bitcoins. As I said, Bitcoins are, I call it my precious. And if you think about the Lord of the Rings, Bilbo Baggins never gave that ring to anybody. He put it around his neck and he kept it close to his chest. That's where you keep your Bitcoins, as close as possible to you. And if you're going to give something away for somebody else to hold, you better make sure that they are going to look after the precious the same way you are going to look after it. And that is not only for investment, but that's also just keeping your coins in general, because a lot of people are just storing their coins on web wallets and stuff like that. And I think there's a lot of new products that are going to come out that are going to make it more secure for people to hold Bitcoins, and those are the things to look at, to keep your precious close to your heart.
Yeah, we're keeping our precious very close to our heart. So, Peter, then maybe the final question is, how do people get started? You know, we hear about this, we hear about that, we hear about all the options. It can be overwhelming. So, how do we actually get started?
The best way to get started, the best way is not to start as an investor, but to get started with education. Now, let me just immediately put up a red flag here. Please, education is not going to some guy's presentation who wants to sell you a mining contract and he's going to teach you about Bitcoin. Because his ultimate goal is not to educate you about Bitcoin. His ultimate goal is to actually get you to invest in his cloud mining scheme. So that's not what I'm talking about. We've got a whole internet full of information that where you can, if you have a little bit of intelligence, you'll soon be able to see to see the wood from the trees. But in reality, if you really want to get started and you're listening to this, my suggestion is follow a woman. It doesn't cost you anything to follow the YouTube channel, and you will get a free education without investing a penny. If you are then interested in learning more, then talk to the guys like Tracy and Mavanya, to yourselves, and get go to an intensive course where you can learn what Bitcoin is about, and where you will actually be educated and not be sold some cock and bull investment scheme. That's the first thing. So the first thing is invest in yourself and get an education about this new technology. The second thing is, the most important thing is, start educating your kids about what's going on with this, because they are the new generation that's going to use this. And then to get involved in investment, start slowly and get yourself a Bitcoin wallet and start just purchasing some Bitcoin. And you can purchase a very, very small amount. That's the beauty of Bitcoin. You can start off with $100 and buy something small, and then learn about the currency, its uses, and stuff like that, and grow it from there.
Right.
Yes, Peter, you know what? Thanks for that. It's really just about getting started.
Absolutely.
And getting going.
Absolutely. It's about, once you start educating yourself about this, then you realize, look, this is something that's going to change the world. I need to know what's going on here. and I need to be involved, and then get involved. And the more you are involved, the more you will get involved. So yeah, that is my invitation to people, is to just get involved.
Thank you so much, Peter. I mean, I think this has been such an informative session. Merv, what are your thoughts?
Well, you know what, Tracy, you and I have spoken about a number of these issues through the weeks. But what's awesome is when we can get an independent person in of the caliber of Peter, being able to explain and look at things from totally different angles. I've thoroughly enjoyed the broadcast, and I've learned a lot. And thank you, Peter. It's been great.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you, Peter. So, if you, here's an invitation for you to contact us, to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and follow us on Facebook. I mean, we want to hear from you guys. So, yeah, a great session. Thank you very much, Peter. Thanks, Merv. I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Tracy. Till next week. Woohoo!